Hey girls and boys, it's Mr. McAndrew, the math coach. Very excited to get into today's work. So this week we're going to be talking about different types of measurement. So today we'll focus on measuring length using like inches and feet. And then we'll get into some volume, like how much space does something take up. And then we'll also get into something called mass. Mass is like how much stuff does something have that makes it up, right? So like the mass of a balloon is very small considering how big it is, right? But like compared to like a bowling ball is the same, like about the same size as a balloon, but the bowling ball has a lot more mass. And you can tell because it weighs a lot more, right? Okay, but mass is not the same thing as weight, but we'll get to that later. For today, let's get to your math. If you, in your math packet, if you could please take out your Monday word problem number 1. It says length. Okay, so you need this, and you should have a tape measure. Look, something like this with your math material. So take those two things out. And so I'll use my hand signals. I'll say, stop the video. Get the things you need, and then come on back. All right, so do that now, and I'll see you in a minute. All right, so you should have your stuff ready to go. The first question in this is, how tall are you in inches? All right, so inches. Inches are not terribly big, right? So on your tape measure, there's actually two sides to it. This side shows inches, okay? The other side shows centimeters. Centimeters are a lot smaller than inches, okay? In fact, there's about 2.5 centimeters in each inch, okay? So we're going to be doing inches. So an inch is about, I don't know, it's about that much, okay? It's not very much. From like here to here, okay? I'm about 69 inches tall because I'm 5 feet 9 inches. And there's 12, we'll talk more about this, but there's 12 inches in a foot, okay? So what you want to do is you want to measure yourself. You want to take your shoes off. Socks are fine. It's up to you. You know, don't take them off maybe if your feet are stinky. Just kidding. Not kidding. So stand against the wall and have somebody help you. Put like a ruler or something flat at the top of your head, right? And then mark where the ruler hits the wall. Don't use pen or marker. Just use like a pencil or even better, a finger to mark it. And then step away, right? And then use your tape measure to see how tall you are, okay? I'm guessing you're probably going to be somewhere between 45 to 60 inches. Okay, I don't think anyone's going to be taller than 60 inches, so this should do it. If you are very tall and you're taller than 60 inches, then just go to 60 and then mark that and then start again. And then if you're like 62 inches or something. Okay, so at some point you can do it now. You can stop the video now and do that, or do it after the video. Okay. All right. So we have a word problem here. Let's take a look. Let's read it together, and then I want you to try it out. Okay, it says, Andre the Giant is your age and 245 inches tall. That's really tall. Well, he's a giant. For those of you who don't know, some of your parents might know, maybe your dad, Andre the Giant was a real person. That was his name, Andre the Giant. He was like a wrestler back in maybe the 80s. He was in some movies like The Princess Bride, The Big Guy. Anyways, that's Andre. His brother, Bash, I made that up, is 132 inches shorter. Okay, so he's not as tall as Andre. How tall are Andre and Bash all together combined? So like if Bash was standing on top of Andre, how tall would they be? Now I want you to try this out on your own first. Okay, so we're going to stop the video, do the work, and then come on back. However, I will tell you that this is a 2-step word problem. By step, I mean like add, subtract, multiply, divide. So you have to do that twice to actually get the answer. So think about it, draw a picture. I've given you plenty of room. I've given you some lines if you want to use a number line. There's space down here where my face is to do some work. Try it out, and when you've done that, come on back. Okay, so stop the video, do your work, and then come on back. All right, boys and girls, so how did that go? Are you like, is it kind of confusing? Or you're like, oh yeah, I got it. Or you're like, I don't really know what you're asking me, Mr. McAndrew. So in fourth grade, one of the expectations is that you can solve a two-step word problem, not just one steps, okay? Not just one step. So one way to think about this that might be helpful is if we drew a picture of, let's say, I don't draw very good pictures, Andre, okay? And we know that his height is 245 inches, okay? From the floor to the top of his head is 245 inches. A lot taller than you. Probably about at least 4 times taller, right? Because if you're 60 inches, which you're probably not, times 4 is 240, okay? All right, now his brother, we don't know how tall he is, but we know he's shorter, okay? And we know his name is Bash. We'll put a B for Bash. And we know from here to here, we don't really know how tall he is, right? We don't know that. But we do know that he's 132 inches shorter, okay? So that means he's not as tall. So that means from like as tall as Andre is, here's Andre, right, down to how tall Bash is, this is 132, okay? So if we want to figure out, right, how much, if all of this is 245 and this part is 132, then if we want to figure out how tall he is, we have to figure out how much this part is, right? Right here. So we have to figure out, how can we do that? Okay, so there's a couple ways we could do it. One way we could do it is we could say, if Andre's 245, if we subtract 132, we should get how tall Bash is. So if I subtract 132, I subtract 100, that gets me to 145. If I subtract 30, that gets me to 115. And if I subtract 5, not 5, 2. If I subtract 2, I get 113 inches. Okay, so that's one way you could have done it. You could have just subtracted it like a normal way that you might do it, right? Just do 245 minus 132. That's probably the fastest way, right? 113, okay? So we figured that out. So who put the answer down as 113? All right, but that's not the question. The question is, how tall are they all together? So if we know that he is from here to here is 113 inches, and Andre is 245, we have to add those together, okay? So that shouldn't be too hard. 245 plus 113 gives us 358 inches. Okay, so that would be the answer to that. So there's 2 steps. First, we had to subtract, okay, and then we had to add. So that's called a 2-step word problem. All right, so let's move along. So boys and girls, I did want to show you one thing to think about that might be helpful to some of you. If you're really good at addition, but you're not as good at subtraction, this could be helpful to you. So in this problem, right, we know that Bash was 132 inches shorter. So if we add 132, right, 132 plus his height, which we didn't know, that would give us the height of Andre, which is 245. So one way to think about this is a number line. All right, I'll do this quick. So 132 plus what gets me all the way up to 245. Okay, so you can, like, on a number line, it's kind of cool. You can hop by whatever you want. I'm going to hop by 100. So I'm going to put 100 here. That gets me to 232. All right, then I'm going to hop by, let's say, just 10 more. And that gets me to 242. And then 3 more gets me to 245. So I hopped 113, and that's in fact the answer. Okay? All right, so you have a word problem to do. It is similar to the one we just did. All right? You do need to measure your bed. Okay, the length of your bed, not the height, but this way. Okay, it should be, I'm imagining it's going to be taller than you. So again, if it's more than 60 inches, just measure 60 inches, right? Mark off where that is and then start again where the 1 is. So it'll be like 60 plus maybe 28, which would be like 88 inches, okay? Or you might have a tape measure that's longer, just use that. And then there's a word problem about Amy the Giant, all right? It's a similar word problem where it's a 2-step word problem. All right, good luck. And there's one more video today, so watch that and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.